Hola clase, bienvenido al capítulo 15, el último capítulo del libro y del semestre. So, the last chapter of the book and the course, and this is the video introduction. ¿Qué nos trae el futuro is the theme. What does the future bring us? And we go down here, we'll see that our enfoque cultural is Puerto Rico, vocabulary is science, technology, the environment, and other challenges of the future, which is what this means. Retos, otros retos del futuro. As far as grammar, we have imperfect subjunctive, which is also called past subjunctive. Si clauses, or if clauses, as we say in English. And then another use of the pronoun se for unplanned occurrences. So just three pieces of grammar. And, well, I was going to say they're not that difficult, but actually some of those are going to be challenging. Okay, anyway, that's an overview of the whole chapter here. And then our first part is the culture, which is Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico is an island, and it's not to be confused with Costa Rica, which a lot of people do. Costa Rica being over here in Central America, and Puerto Rico being over here in the Caribbean. And anyway, I'll let you, of course, read through the activities and the blurbs here. But Puerto Rico, I will just say, is a part of the United States. If those of you that don't know, it is a territory, and Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, hold U.S. passports, and they can freely come and work and live in the United States, in the mainland. But it is a distinct culture. It's pretty much Spanish speaking. They do speak a lot of English there because of their relationship with the United States, but it's a Latin American culture essentially, but officially part of the United States, formerly part of Spain. And as of 1898, it came over to the United States. Okay, and I'll let you read more in detail as you complete the activities. Okay, and then going on, we have our first vocabulary section. Again, it's talking about science, technology, and the environment. And we have some paragraphs with, of course, the vocabulary in bold, as we always do, putting it in context. Definitely listen to these, as I always remind you and suggest that you do. And this is the kind of vocabulary that you will need to talk about these kinds of issues. Technology, which is, of course, very important to most young people like yourselves, and important in our lives as well. And it comes up a lot. A lot of the technology vocabulary related to computers, the internet, and such, it does come from English, and so a lot of times it's the same word, just pronounced slightly differently. They take words, for example, to Google something, they just make that into a Spanish verb, googlear, for example. To tweet, those of you that use Twitter, tuitear. So a lot of times they will just take the word and sort of Hispanicize it. But anyway, a lot of the vocabulary they're introducing here, of course, is not that type of vocabulary, but just to be aware that a lot of the vocabulary related to technology is coming straight from English. For example, the word email is pretty much the same word in Spanish, el email. You can say correo electrónico, literally electronic mail, but in my experience, people tend to use the word email, and they just pronounce it a little bit differently. Okay. Anyway, so then we get to our activities where we practice that technology. More cultural comments about Puerto Rico, being the cultural theme for the chapter. And this next section we get into el medio ambiente, which is the environment, which is also a very important topic, and you need certain words to be able to discuss and write about and understand readings and also audio about the environment, el medio ambiente. So that's what we're introducing here in this section. Okay, going on. Well, practice with that, and again, more about Puerto Rico, more about the cultural elements of Puerto Rico. And then other challenges of the future, which is sort of a mixed bag, as it sounds. Las ciudades, el mar, cities, the ocean, housing, and the atmosphere. So, of course, this is still related to el medio ambiente. but another mixed bag of vocabulary for this chapter under the theme of the future. We have el transporte, la ciencia y la tecnología, more related topics and activities. Los ovnis, we call UFOs. Un viaje a Marte, Mars is a hot topic right now. El problema de la alimentación, the problem of food, but feeding the world's population. All kinds of current events, current issues to talk about. And then la investigación tecnológica en Latinoamérica, technological research, probably the best word for investigación, in Latin America as a reading as we always have. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple vocabulary, and some interesting questions there. Okay. And then we would get to our first piece of grammar, which is past subjunctive, also called imperfect subjunctive. And it works just like all the uses of subjunctive we've seen up until now. We see those same uses with the past subjunctive. It's just that up until now we've only been seeing present subjunctive. That's the only difference. So all you really will have to learn here is not a new concept, but just a new verb form. Of course, it's always good to review the subjunctive concepts because it takes a long time to get those. But there is really no new concept being introduced here. It's just using the subjunctive to talk about the past versus the present. But what we do have to learn is the verb form of the imperfect subjunctive. And what we're going to do for this first, what you'll have this week is just the forms, and then later we'll get into the uses. But the forms are not that hard. I've put a couple of videos in the folder for you, and you can practice hearing those and writing those. And then once we have the forms down, we will concentrate on the uses after that. Okay, and I think that's it for the first half of the chapter. Hasta luego.